What's going on, NFL fans? This your boy Emmanuel Jones here from the Big Fan, and I'm gonna be doing my weekly predictions for Week 5 predictions. And last week I did really good. I went 10-6 last week, and my overall record is 40-24, which is pretty good. So yeah, so we're gonna get started here. So before I give you my record prediction for Week 5, my picks for Week 5, don't forget to put a thumbs up to like the video, subscribe to my channel for more options, and don't forget to comment down your opinion below to see who you got winning Week 5. So anyways, I chose the Falcons to win 27-24, and they won 36-30 in overtime. So yeah, so by the way, let's get things started here. We got the London game. We got New York Jets taking on Minnesota Vikings in London. Minnesota's favored by 2.5. This game's in London, but it's not in Minnesota. Now, the game should favor Minnesota because how well they've been playing every week. I know they're not at home, but this could be a home team for the Vikings. But I know they're at home, but it's in London. You can treat it like it's a home team. But this team should favor Minnesota. It should favor Minnesota to win the game. But you know what? I did pick the Jets earlier this week. But right now, I'm kind of like how the way Minnesota's playing right now. So I'm leaning towards the Vikings to win this game because I just like how the way the Vikings are really playing right now, especially on defense and on offense. Like they're moving the ball on offense. They're setting up screens, creating play action. And they've been sustaining on drives. I like how the way they've been doing that. Sam Darnold's playing awesome football. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison's playing really good. Aaron Jones is totally been playing really good as well. They should be able to get T.J. Hockenson back. I feel like that can make their offense more explosive. Now, the offensive line is totally playing better, and the defense is totally playing really good under Brian Flores. I like how the way Brian Flores is doing on defense. He's blitzing a lot, and he's creating pressure and turnovers and all that. So, yeah, but they're deep. And on the other side, the Jets are kind of have not been good against the run lately, but their defense has totally been playing lights out. But the defense, I feel like the secondary with Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed could be a tough matchup for the Vikings offense because they got the best corner duels in the NFL. Now, I like to say the Jets have a better secondary, but I think when you look at the Vikings, I think Minnesota can definitely. I feel like the Vikings on offense can win their matchups against the Jets cornerbacks to put their Jets corners in a bad position. So yeah, I think when I look at the Jets, with their offense, I feel like the Jets offensive line is pretty good, but I feel like Aaron Rodgers didn't really play that well. Like the offense kind of came off a bit slow. Their kicker missed a field goal on special teams against the Broncos. Now, I thought the defense played outstanding, but I think when I look at the Jets, I think their offense can totally make some big plays. But I feel like where I think they could struggle with is whether they're able to pick up any blitz packages. And I feel like Aaron Rodgers is good at like seeing which guy is open, seeing which guy is like where he's going. Like he's good at like reading coverages, reading defenses, and all that, which I think he's really good at doing that. And Sam Darnold has been really good at doing the same thing too. So I wouldn't be shocked that the Jets won, but that's again, I think the Jets can win because of their defense. But I feel like but I have a feeling I'm just gonna take Minnesota because I think Minnesota is a better team overall. Um, I rank them at least number 2 or number 1 in their power rankings. But if the Jets win, it could be because of me. So yeah. So I like the Vikings here. They're just the more better team overall. And I'll just take them to cover as well. I think it will be a close game, but I think it's going to be more like a low scoring game. I'm going to say like 23-17, something like that. So, yeah. So, I'm just going to take them both ways. But here's the thing. If Minnesota gets a lead early, they could definitely blow the Jets out. That's what I'm saying. Because they did the same thing as the Packers. Like, they easily blow the Packers out in the first half, and all of a sudden, Green Bay tried to come back, and all of a sudden the Packers couldn't really come back on them because the Vikings were moving the ball. So yeah, I'm taking Minnesota in both ways because I think Minnesota has a better coaching staff and they're the better team. But you can argue saying that Aaron Rodgers is the better quarterback than Sam Darnold. But yeah, but that would kind of scares me. But I think Minnesota is just a tough match for the Jets. That's why I'm just taking the Vikings. Next game we have the Carolina Panthers versus Chicago Bears. The Bears are favored by -4. Obviously, this could be the Andy Dalton revenge game again because he didn't get his revenge game on the Bengals last week. But I am taking the Bears to win the game. I think the Bears are just a better team overall, better quarterback, better coach. They're at home. Um, yeah, I mean that's why. I mean the Bears, are just way too talented to lose to the Carolina Panthers. Now, if it was Bryce Young versus Caleb Williams, it could be awesome. But I like how the way the Bears did on offense. They moved the ball. Caleb Williams was making some big time throws. I like how the way the offense is playing. The defense is playing really good. I think they're running the football better. Now the Panthers do got some injuries on defense, so I think it could allow the Bears to run the ball effectively. And the Panthers' pass defense has not been playing really good, so I think the Bears can throw all over them, and it can have. And I think Caleb could have. And I think Caleb could definitely have all day in the pocket too. So yeah. So by the way, as I look at the injury report, it feels like the Bears are more healthier. So they are more healthier than the Panthers. I mean, the Panthers, I like how the way they played on offense, especially their receiving core is getting better. Deontay Johnson's is getting better as a wide receiver. But I think the Bears secondary can play some sticky coverage against the Panthers receiving core because no Adam Thielen. They got to get Leggett involved. They got to get Sanders involved. And the Panthers can't really run the football. So I think the Bears defense can come to play. I think they're going to stack the boss and they're going to stop the run in this game. So I think that can allow them to get off the field. So yeah. But at the end of the day, I got to take Chicago to win at home and keep it going. I mean, they're just a better team overall. But you know what? I think they can keep it close, but I don't know if they will, but we'll see. I'm gonna say the Bears win like 24-17, something like that. I don't see the Panthers scoring more than like 10 points. I don't see them scoring 20 points in this game like they did against the Bengals. So yeah, I like the Bears to win. I'll take the Bears to cover. So yeah. Next game, we got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The Baltimore Ravens are favored by -2.5. I call this a trap game for some reason because both these two teams are kind of starting off a bit slow. Now the Ravens are coming off a 2-game winning streak. When they came off a big win against Buffalo, and the Bengals came off a big win against the Panthers. But I think the game is deciding who's going to win more because the AFC North is going to come through a race because I think the Steelers, Bengals, and the Steelers are going to race because Steelers are up top first place right now. But I think the Ravens, when I look at it, I think when you look at the Bengals, like I think both these two teams have really good offenses. Now the Ravens have really had trouble covering Jamar Chase through the pass. So yeah, I know they did. And then, the Ravens and Lamar has totally did a good job against Cincinnati and he's owned the Bengals through the pass. So yeah, I think this team right here can definitely be a fun game to watch. But at the same time, it's hard to choose because I really don't want to see Cincy start 1-4, and I really don't want to see the Ravens start 2-3. It's hard to choose because they're both are nearly on a slow start. Because they've been on a slow start for weeks, and we know the Bengals early in the season they always start slow, and the Ravens always start fast when they needed to. So yeah, I think the game right here can definitely be close and competitive though. But I have a feeling that the Bengals, they have been really bad and weak on defense, especially against a run and against a pass where they're giving up too many big plays, opening up screens and stuff like that. And they've been weak against a run and all that. On the other side of the Ravens, defense seems a little bit overrated because they've been weak against the pass, but they're better against a run. But the Ravens, I have a feeling the Ravens can run. The Bengals have been running the football a little bit better without Joe Mixon, that's good. Which the offense is playing good. Now the offense of the Ravens is playing good because they can run the football. Like they really ran the ball. They really ran all over the Bills last week, and I think the Ravens can totally run the football on the Bengals, given the fact that the Bengals are weak against a run, and Lamar Jackson can use his legs, and Derrick Henry could have a massive game. So, like I said, it's gonna be a fun game to watch. This could be game of the week, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna go with the Ravens to win this game because I just have a feeling that the Ravens are just a tough matchup for the Bengals because in terms of the defense, like Ravens do a better job stopping the run, they can stop the pass better. Like the Ravens do have the corners to cover Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. They have a little bit of a pass rush to get after Joe Burrow. Um, they have the weapons on offense to move the ball against the Bengals defense. I feel like despite the Bengals having a good secondary, I think the Ravens can win their one-on-one matchups. So yeah, I think the only way the Bengals can win this game is that their defense can get a stop here and then they control the game and keep Lamar on the sidelines. I think that can help since he wins. But I think the Ravens are going to control the game and they're going to keep their defense off the field and keep Joe Burrow on the sidelines. I think the Ravens find a way to pull this victory off. I think the Ravens are just. I know it's in Cincinnati, but I have a feeling the Ravens are just a more complete team. They have the better I have a feeling the Ravens are just a more complete team and kind of have a better coaching staff as well. So yeah, I'll take the Ravens to win, but I don't. I'll take Cincy with the points. I think Cincinnati covers this game because I think Cincy can do enough to like move the ball on the Bengals. So yeah. So basically, the Bengals do have injuries on defense. Um, They got Mike Hilton's questionable, Miles Murphy's questionable, Mike Hilton's questionable. They could be getting BJ Hill back, which is good news. So yeah, so Ravens are just more healthier. So I feel like the Ravens should win this game here, but I got it closer though. I'm gonna say the Ravens win like hmm. I'm gonna say 31-24. I think they win by 7, but I think the Bengals can do enough to cover this game. Or I can say like 31-23, 30-24, something like that. I think the Ravens win by like 6 or 7. So, yeah. I'll take the Bengals with the points, but I'll take the Ravens to win the game. All right, next game we have the Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots. The Patriots were favored, but the Lions switched saying that the Dolphins are favored. I don't know why. But at the same time, it's going to be two backup quarterbacks playing against each other. It's going to be Jacoby Brissett versus Tyler Huntley or Skylar Thompson because I feel like Skylar Thompson's dealing an injury. So yeah, the Dolphins they do have some injuries though, which we know we heard the news that Jalen Phillips is having another season-ending injury, which he's out, which that's huge for their pass rush. Now they're going to be playing backups like Emmanuel Ogbog and Chop Robinson, the rookie. The secondary is pretty much healthy, but I feel like Jordan Poyer's out. Now, on the other hand, the Patrons, they do have some injuries on the offensive line. And David Andrew, which he's out for the year. But the Patrons got to find out who their number one receiver is. Now, they did rule out Stevenson. They did bench Ramondre Stevenson due to since he hasn't been playing well because he's been fumbling a lot. So now they're switching from Antonio Gibson. So I felt the Patrons could have success running the ball against an injured Dolphins defensive line. And the Dolphins' offensive line is nothing special. I think the Patriots can get a bit of a pass rush. I think their defense can get after, the Dolphins' O line, and I think the secondary can do enough to like cover Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So I think it could be a defensive battle game. So I think the Patriots, I think, the only reason why they lost to the Niners is because, of their offense not getting it going. And I don't really think the Patriots are gonna like score a lot of points because the offense is just lacking. And and the defense has not been playing its best. But I think the Dolphins defense has not been playing its best too. But I think it will be a close game though. But I want to go with the Dolphins, but I'm going to take the Patriots because I just feel like the Dolphins have proven to me that they cannot win without Tua. Like, they can't. Like, they haven't proven to me that they can score a lot of points. Like, it's been like 2 straight weeks since they haven't scored. And the defense is totally playing bad as well. I think the Patriots offense moved the ball. I think Jacoby Brissett can have a good game. Um, I I think the O line can do a good job. I think they can do a good job sustaining drives, keeping their defense off bounds, their defense off the field. I have a feeling the Patriots are going to do that in this game. But I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I'm going to say the Patriots win like 16-13, more like a field goal type game. So, yeah, I got the Patriots winning this game at home because I think they're pretty much more healthier. Next game, we have the Cleveland Browns versus the Washington Commanders. The Commanders are favored by -3. Now, I believe this game right here can go either way, but as you look at it, the Browns have not been playing at their best, especially on defense and on offense, where Deshaun Watson is totally struggling, especially against, he's struggling against pressure and man coverage. Like, he's been really bad in the past. Um, the defense has definitely been keeping them in games where they're not allowing like 30 points a game, even though against the Cowboys, they allowed it like over 30 points against the Cowboys. So yeah. But when you look at the Commanders, they're like a sneaky good team. Jaden Daniels is playing really well. He looks pro ready. The offense is playing really well, especially their old line is playing really well. But my concern is a bad matchup. Like, I'm talking about the Browns defense versus the Commanders offensive line. I don't think it's any special, but it's been playing better. I mean, they're setting up screens and they're opening up yards at their catch. That's what I like to see. Especially Jaden Daniels has definitely been good against man coverage. Like, he had a good game though last week against the Cardinals. Now the question is, can Washington's defense, show up in this game? Because I feel like last week their defense did show up in the game because their defense only allowed like 14 points to the Cardinals. And then the Browns, they could be getting their offensive line players back, like why it's I gotta look at the injury report. So basically, um, they'll be getting. I think their offensive line is still injured, but they could be getting Nick Chubb back. He could be back, which he is activated, but I don't think he'll play. David Njoku could be back. Um, they do got some injuries on the defense, so Conklin could be back. So yeah, but the Washington does have some injuries. We know Noah Brown is not going to play. Brian Robinson is questionable to play. So yeah, but I regret he'll play because Washington has definitely been good running the ball recently. But I think they can keep it close here. But I don't think the Browns are going to do enough to win the game. But there's a chance they can. But I just don't really trust the Browns, and I don't really like how the way they're playing. So I'm gonna back Washington to win this game because I think Washington is showing they're the better team overall. And Jaden Daniels seems like he's a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson. So yeah, and they're at home in this game anyway. So yeah, so I'm gonna take the Commanders to win the game. Um, I'll take the 3 with the Browns. I think it's gonna be a close game. I'm gonna say like 20-16, something like that. I think it's gonna be a more of a low scoring game, a little bit something like that. So I'm gonna take the Browns with the points, but I'll take the Commanders to win the game. Next game, we have the Indianapolis Colts against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags are favored by -3. Obviously, this game can go either way. Now, most people are going to be picking the Colts to win because the Colts, are kind of really rising, are really in the right direction right now. While the Jags, they could be trending in the long direction because they're on a 4-game losing streak. Now, the Colts do have some injuries though. Now, especially on defense. I gotta look the injury report. So as I'm looking right now, Jonathan Taylor's hurt, which he's out, which that's huge for the running game. Um, and Anthony Richardson's questionable due to an injury. We don't know if he's gonna play, but if he doesn't, it's probably gonna be Joe Flacco. Quiddy Pay's out. Kenny Moore's out. Um, the Colts got so many injuries on defense, which I think they could be doing a practice squad defense, which I think they could do that. Um, the Jags, I gotta look at their injury report. Devin Lloyd's questionable. Darnell Savage questionable, but actually he's expected to play. Devin Lloyd, I think he's questionable. Actually, he will suit up in this game, so yeah, but he's questionable. We know Oluoku's on Kun's on IR. Tyson Campbell's on IR. Jut Hines Allen is questionable, and then Evan Ingram's questionable. So Gibson's on suspension, I think, still. So Jacksonville has so many injuries on defense, which it has been not helping them win the game. So both these two teams are not healthy on defense, but we know the Colts do have the worst pass defense in the NFL. They can't really stop the pass as good. Now we understand that the Jags can't stop the pass as well too, because their pass defense has been not playing really well right now, especially due to injuries. But they have been okay, a little bit good against a run. You can say that. So yeah. So I think Jacksonville gets their first win. They're at home. Jacksonville has owned the Colts at home in recent years. Now I believe the last time that the Colts had beat them in Jacksonville was since I think it was 2014. So it's been like 9-10 years from now. So yeah, it's been like 9 or 10 years from now since the Colts haven't really beaten the Jags in Jacksonville. So it's been since like 9-10 years. It's been like since I think it was 2014. So yeah. I think Jacksonville does have a really explosive offense. I feel like Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas, and Gabe Davis is going to be too much for the Colts secondary to handle. If Evan Ingram comes back, that could be special. So yeah, and I think they can run the ball a little bit. And I feel like the Colts defensive line with the injuries they have, I don't think the Colts are going to do much on defense. And I think the Jags should be able to at least like I think the Jags are going to be able to like run the ball. I think they should be able to run the ball a little bit. Okay, I did get a news saying that they downgrade Anthony Richardson because he's ruled out due to a lobecule, like a hip injury. So yeah. So I think Jacksonville, should be able to win this game, but I might take the Colts to cover, but I don't know. I'm gonna say in the Colts cover because you know how the way they beat the Steelers last week. I mean, their defense played really well against the Steelers and their offense really moved the ball. So yeah, I think the Colts will cover, but I think Jacksonville wins this game. So I'm gonna say the Jags win. Like I see Jacksonville scoring 20 points in this game. So I'm gonna say like 20, I'm gonna say 24-17, something like that. Or I could say 24-30. I feel like the Jags might score 30 in this game. So yeah, so I like the Jags in this game to win, but I'll take the Colts to cover. All right, next game we have the Buffalo Bills versus the Houston Texans. The Texans are favored by -1. Now the Bills were favored, but now the line changed to the Texans. Now I believe that the Bills do have some injuries here. So if I look at the injury report, I gotta see. Um, Khalil Shakir is out with an ankle injury. Terrell Bernard is questionable. Ed Oliver's out. Taylor Rapp's out. Vaughn Miller's on suspension still, and Teron Johnson's questionable to play. So the Bills do have some injuries on defense. So yeah, that's they do, but so yeah, the Bills do got injuries on defense. Um, uh, um, yeah, and then Texans do have injuries. Joe Mixon's out again. Their backup defensive tackles and defensive ends, and Derek Barnett and Jerry Hughes is out. Damian Pierce is questionable to play, but I think they'll still play. So yeah, so they do have Texans do have injuries on defense. The one thing about the Texans is that they haven't been really moving the ball consistently. Like they haven't been in a position where they're not picking up consistent first downs, where they're taking too many penalties, too many holding calls, and like they're taking some holding calls and all that, and that's what's hurting themselves, and they've been taking penalties to do that, and that's what's hurting this team. Where it's like get them into some third and longs, which has kind of hindered their drives because if they're on third and long, second and long, third and long against the Bills defense, they're in trouble. So yeah, so that's what's hindering their drives is the penalties and all that. So yeah, but at the same time, I think that the Bills can move the ball on offense against the Texans. I think the Bills are very smart enough on defense where I think they can stop somebody, which I think they have a chance they can stop the run against the Texans. And I think the Bill Josh Allen can use his legs. Like he can find a way to at least move the ball through the air against the Texans secondary, which the Texans secondary has not been playing at its best, but it's been okay. But Derek Stingley's good. The rest of their corners, their DBs aren't good. The defense of the Texans, their pass rush is playing really good, which I think they can find a way to at least they can get pressure on Allen because Allen doesn't really get sacked as much. So yeah. So I feel like the Texans taking too many penalties is hurting themselves in the games. But I have a feeling that the Texans, their offensive line is really good. And I feel like they can find a way to move the ball against the Bills defense because the Bills defense at times are very soft. I feel like this could be a Stephon Diggs revenge game where he was a Bill. He could have a huge game. Um, I feel like the Bills secondary is good. Like their corner duo is really good with Christian Benford and Rasul Douglas. And Teron Johnson's their best nickel, but their safety position is weak. I feel like if you could attack their safeties, you could be definitely be in good position to move the ball. So I feel like the Texans can control the game. They can if they can find a way to control the game and keep Josh Allen on sidelines. I feel like the Texans can find themselves to win this game to get their defense off the field. But the only way Buffalo wins this game is that if they can control the game on offense, get some stops, keep CJ Stroud on the sidelines. I think that can help the Bills win. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be close, but I'm going to take the Texans to win this game. I think the Texans are the better team I feel like that the Texans are gonna like do a good job controlling the game on offense, and I think they're the receiving core can the receivers of Houston can win their one-on-one matchups against the Bills cornerback group. So yeah, and I think their pass rush can get after Josh Allen. I think they can run the ball a little bit on Buffalo, but I think they can stop the Bills' running game and their passing game as well. And I thought the Bills looked pretty poor against the Ravens because the Bills definitely did get exposed. Their run defense did get exposed last week where they couldn't stop the run and all that. So yeah, I think the Bills find a way. I feel like they can keep this game close. I think the Bills can do enough to cover, but I think the Texans find a way to win this game at the end. I think they can win by a field goal. I'm gonna say like 34-31, something like that. So yeah, I think the Texans win by 3 points. So yeah, so I think it's gonna be a 3 point game. I think they win by a field goal. I'm gonna say Bills win. I'm gonna say Texans win, but I'll say Bills cover. But I think it should be fun game to watch. Next game we got the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Denver Broncos. Denver's favored by 3. Obviously, um, this game right here is can go either way. Um, Now most people could be picking the Broncos to win because they're at home, and especially the Broncos have definitely been playing really good throughout the past 2 weeks. I like how the way their defense is playing and it's been keeping them in games. Like they really won big against the Bucks, and now they won an ugly game against the Jets. I like how the way they're playing, especially on defense, but the offense is not really playing really good, especially for week 3 when the offense did play really well against the Bucks. But at the same time, I think the Broncos, they're trending in the right direction really good, and the Raiders are kind of are too. So now the thing is that the Raiders do have some injuries. Devontae Adams is ruled out for this game. Now we know Trey Tucker could step up, Jacoby Myers can, and Brock Bowers has been really good. Now the Raiders could definitely run the ball really good because I don't think the Broncos' run defense has not been great. But I feel like the Raiders' defense can really hold up in this game. They have a really good pass rush. Cause I feel like if Max Crosby plays, I think it helps. Um, I feel like their offense can control the game. So yeah, but there's a chance Denver can win this game, but I'm picking the Raiders. And the reason why I'm picking the Raiders is because I just have a feeling that the Broncos haven't proven to me they can beat the Raiders. Like I just need to see it before I believe it. Because the Raiders, they have owned the Broncos for years since even when Russell Wilson was in the building, and even though when Peyton Manning retired, I mean the Raiders have been beating them like multiple times. Like I don't even remember the last time the Broncos have beaten them. I think it's been like 8 years since the Broncos have beaten the Raiders. So it's been like 2016. So yeah. So I know Denver's at home where it's kind of tough to play at. And I know the Broncos have a better coach, but at the same time, I just have a feeling the Raiders are going to win because the Raiders, I feel like they're just a more complete team, and they just have the better quarterback in Minshew. So, yeah, so I'm going to take the Raiders to win this game, but I think it's going to be a low scoring game because the Broncos defense has been playing really good as well. So, I'm going to say the Raiders win like I'm going to go maybe 17-16, something like that. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think the Raiders can win by 1 point. So, give me the Raiders to win the game here. Next game, we have the Arizona Cardinals versus San Francisco 49ers. Um, the Cardinals are favored. The Niners are favored by 7, which it's a lot of points. I am taking the 49ers to win the game. Now, the Niners do got some injuries on defense. Fred Warner is questionable with an ankle injury. I don't know if he'll play, but I doubt he will play. But if he doesn't play, it can be much closer. Um, the Cardinals looked pretty poor last week against Commanders. and they did not really show up in this game. Like the defense didn't play good, the offense didn't play good. The Niners really played really well against Patriots last week. I mean, their defense has been playing really well, but I have a feeling that Kyler Murray does struggle against tough defenses, and I think the defense will give Kyler issues like Commanders did. And the Cardinals don't really have enough on defense to slow down the Niners offense. I feel like Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle can have a big game if he's playing. And they've been running the ball better. I think they can run the ball in this game on the Cardinals. Jordan Mason can have a big game. So, yeah. And the defense can totally make some stops here and there. And they pretty much have a great secondary to match up with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride if he plays. But if Trey McBride doesn't play, I mean, it could hurt hurt the Cardinals offense. So, yeah. So, I'm going to take the Cardinals. I could totally take the Cardinals to cover, but I'm not too confident in them. But I'm going to take the Niners. I'm taking the Niners to cover this game, but I am taking them to win. But I'm going to take them in both ways. I'm going to take the Niners to win and cover because I think the Niners are the better team, better quarterback, better coach, and they're at home. So, yeah, I think the Niners can win by 7 or then maybe they win by double digits. I'm going to say like 30-20, something like that. But if the Niners get up early, they can blow the Cardinals out. So, yeah, so I like the Niners in this spot in both ways. All right, next game, we have the Green Bay Packers versus the Los Angeles Rams. The Packers are favored by -3. The game's in LA, which I really know that. But at the same time, the Rams are going to be without Cooper Kupp again. So that reminds me that I'm taking the Packers. So I got to take Green Bay to win this game. The reason why I'm taking Green Bay to win this game is because Green Bay, I feel like they're just a better team overall. And on top of that, I think they're a little bit more healthier on offense, despite Christian Watson, not playing due to an ankle injury. And then, Romeo Dobbs, I don't know if he's playing because he has a personal matter. Jaden Reed seems like he can have a good game. Wicks can have a good game as well. Tucker Kraft kind of looked good, but Luke Musgrave is questionable due to injury. The offensive line is pretty good. I feel like Josh Jacobs can have a good game, so I feel like Green Bay can run the ball on the Rams, given the fact that the Rams defense is bottom 5 in the league. I feel like Jordan Love can have all day to make some big throws, especially against an underwhelming secondary of the Rams. I feel like Green Bay's defense can get a bit of a pass rush, and I think their secondary can do enough to at least play some sticky coverage against an underwhelming receiving core, against an injured Rams receiving core. And I don't know if Jair's going to play in this game, but if he plays, I think it helps. But I feel like, if Jair doesn't play, I feel like it may not help. Now, the Packers did look pretty poor against the Vikings, though, last week, until they end up coming back on them when they played a lot better, which they would have at least won, which that's okay. So I feel like this is a bounce back spot for the Packers to win this game. But I don't know. I might take the Rams with the points because I think the Rams offense can keep up in this game because sometimes the Packers defense is soft at times. I feel like Stafford can do enough to keep up with the Packers like he did the same thing against the Niners where the Rams offense did keep up with the Niners. But if they can do the same thing, I think there's a chance the Rams can pull off an upset, which I would not be surprised if that happens. But I think it will be a close game. But I don't think it will be a blowout. So I'm going to take the Packers to win this game, but I'll take them to cover as well. I'm going to say 23-16, something like that. So, yeah. I know Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur are similar coaches to each other, but I just have a feeling that the Packers are just a better team overall and have more talent and have the better defense. So, yeah, that's why I'm just taking Green Bay both ways to get back, so that way they can get back on track. Because I don't think the Rams are any good, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's pretty much why. Next game, we have the New York Giants versus the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are favored by -7. Obviously, I got the Seahawks in this game. The Seahawks are just a better team, better quarterback. They're at home. Their coaching is better. The Giants, no Malik Neighbors, which he is out for this game. So I think it could help the Seahawks. I feel like the Seahawks defense can definitely show up in this game and play some sticky coverage because they have the corners to match up well with they have the corners to match up with the play sticky coverage. They have a bit of a pass rush to get after the Giants. I think they can because I don't think the Giants offense, it totally has not been playing okay, even though they're not scoring a lot of points. But Daniel Jones looked at fine against the Cowboys. Malik Neighbors did look good against the Seahawks. So I mean against the Cowboys. So yeah. So I don't see the way the Giants are gonna be able to do much on offense. And I think the Seahawks should be able to stop the run and load the box and all that. So, yeah. And Geno should have a big game, especially against an underwhelming secondary of the Giants. I feel like that DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson, and Jigba is just going to be too much. So, yeah. And I feel like they can run the ball on the Giants as well. If Kenneth Walker plays, I think it helps. But, yeah. The Seahawks is a better team overall. So, yeah, I feel like this is a bounce back spot for Seattle because I don't think the Giants are going nowhere, and Seattle is totally in a spot of clinching the playoffs. So yeah, that's pretty much why. All right, next game Sunday Night Football. We have the Dallas Cowboys versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are favored by 2.5. I call it a trap game for a reason because here's the thing. Both these two teams can be similar to each other, but in my opinion, I think Dallas is a better team. But at the same time, I just have a feeling that when you look at the Cowboys, like, and the Steelers, like, they're both similar to each other. They both have a top 5 defense in the NFL. The Cowboys do have a top 5 offense, and the Steelers do have, like, bottom 5 offense. But here's the thing. Now, most people are picking the Cowboys to win because of their offense, and Dak is a better quarterback than Justin Fields. But at the same time, the Cowboys got some injuries, especially on defense, where Micah Parsons is out and DeMarcus Lawrence is out. But if Micah Parsons was playing this game, it'll be very interesting to see Micah Parsons versus TJ Watt. Brandon Cooks is going to be out for a while, which he did get placed on IR, which it kind of sucks. So the injuries for Dallas is hurting this team. On the other side, the Steelers look kind of healthier. So even though Dallas is my favorite team, we're underdogs in this game, I'm going to take the Steelers to win this game. They're at home in this game. They're more healthier. Dallas, on the other hand, I feel like they're a better team. But if this game's in Dallas, I feel like Dallas can win. But it's in Pittsburgh, where it's tough to play. I feel like that, the Cowboys don't even have a great offensive line. And I feel like the Steelers' pass rush can totally give the Cowboys' offense the line issues because the Steelers' pass rush is really good. And I just don't really see how Dallas is going to be able to run the ball because Dallas hasn't been showing they can run the football and all that because I don't really see how they're going to be able to run the ball in Pittsburgh. The Steelers, I feel like they should be able to stop the run, load the box to get them in situations, to put them in bad situations. And I feel like that, the Cowboys defense, like I said, is missing 2 pass rushers and they're playing with backups. I don't think their defense is going to be able to do enough to slow down the Steelers' offense because I feel like the Steelers can run the ball, especially Justin Fields can use his legs. George Pickens can be a problem. Pat Fireman can be a problem. Offensive line is playing great. Now the defense, I feel like they can find a way to at least like I said, they can get a pass rush to give Dak Prescott issues. But I feel like CeeDee Lamb could definitely be a problem for the Steelers. But I feel like Mike Tomlin is kind of gonna. I feel like Mike Tomlin is gonna be smart enough to double him in situations. Maybe they can put Joey Porter on him, and then put a safety in Mika, like to double CD and all that. So I feel like Mike Tom can be smart at doubling CD in some situations, like force Dallas to like throw the ball to somebody else. And if they get Tolbert involved, maybe he could, or Jake Ferguson. So yeah. So I feel like it could be a little bit of a defensive game, a little bit, because the Steelers' offensive tend to start slow and then all of a sudden they just come back on them. But I think it could be a low scoring game, kind of a defensive game. I could definitely see the Cowboys win this game, but I wouldn't be shocked if Dallas won. But I just have a feeling the Steelers are just gonna win because they're just more healthier. So yeah, so I'm gonna take the Steelers to win, but I'm gonna take the points with Dallas. I think Dallas can keep this close in this game. I think they can stay in the game even without some of their players on defense. So yeah, I think the Steelers win. I'm gonna say they win by a field goal, like 23-20 or like 2017, something like that. So yeah, I like the Steelers for at home to win this game. But if Dallas wins, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. But if they win, that's great. But I just have a feeling Pittsburgh's gonna win because they're just more healthier. Then last game, Monday Night Football, we have the New Orleans Saints versus the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored by 5.5. Obviously, this game right here is going to be very fun to watch, and it could be close. Obviously, this is Tyrann Mathieu playing against his former team. Derek Carr did play against the Chiefs in his career. So this game right here could be fun to watch. Both defenses playing against each other. I think the Saints defense could be top 10 in the league along with the Chiefs. But at the same time, I feel like this game right here is going to be very competitive. But I'm going to say the Saints do keep it close, but I think they cover. But I'm going to say the Chiefs win this game because they're at home, because they have the better quarterback, the better coach. They're at home. They're the better team overall. And I just think the Chiefs defense is definitely going to give the Saints offense issues because Spags have done a good job against Derek Carr in the past where he confused him. I think he can do it. They do have a good secondary, which I think they can man. They got Trent McDuffie who can man with Rashid Shaheed or Chris Olave. Their safeties, and then they have a pass rush to get after Derek Carr because I don't think the Saints' offensive line is great. So maybe the Chiefs' defense can handle it. And the Chiefs are missing Rashid Rice, which that's kind of hurts their team a lot. Which I think the Chiefs have to find out who their leading receiver is. It's going to be Xavier Worthy or something like that. They need to get Kelsey going because he had a good game. Because Worthy had a good game last week. We know they can't really run the football because because they don't got Pacheco, which he's gonna be out for a while. Maybe the Saints defense can give the Chiefs offense issues. Um, yeah, but I feel like Rashid Shaheed could definitely be a problem for the Chiefs. So, which he could be because he's a really good slot receiver, but I feel like that that Spags Spags can be smart enough to double him in situations like he can put a young safety like Justin Reed on him or something along with Trent McDuffie. So yeah, so I think the Chiefs find a way to win this game here. They're at home. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a defensive game because the Chiefs' offense has totally not been playing really well for the past couple of weeks. And the Saints have been competitive, but their offense totally has fallen apart. So, yeah, I like the Saints to keep this close, but I like the Chiefs to win because they're at home and they're a more complete team and they have better environment. So, yeah, so I think the Chiefs win, but I'll take the Saints to cover. But I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I'm probably going to say like the Chiefs can win like 20 to 17 or like 24-20. Maybe they win by a field goal. Maybe they win by a touchdown. Maybe they win by like a defensive game. Maybe they even win with the defense getting a stop at the end. So yeah, so I'll take the Saints to cover, but I'll take the Chiefs to win the game. Well, those are all my week 5 picks for this week. Thank you guys for watching. And don't forget, if you disagree with me, just let me know in the comments section below what you guys think. So, this is Emmanuel Jones, we're a big fan. So, let me know what you guys think. Well, by the way, if you're playing fantasy football, you might as well do your start and sit-ems this week. So, yeah. So, as my projecting, I'm playing the Vikings defense this week. on my fantasy team, which that's why I picked the Vikings to win because their defense. So yeah. So I'm hoping for my players to get a touchdown this week. I hope I get more touchdowns this week so I can be able to score a lot of points. So yeah. Well, anyways, thank you guys for watching. This is Mail Jones from Big Fan. I'll see you guys later. Peace.